Welcome back. Today we'll be exploring one of the most fascinating denominations in British numismatics, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin, also known as the florin. While the 2 shillings may have been everyday money for millions of people before decimalization in 1971, some editions of this coin are now incredibly rare, highly collectible, and worth hundreds, and in some cases, even thousands of dollars at auction. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most valuable United Kingdom 2 shilling coins, looking at their history, unique features, rarity, and their big dollar auction results. So let's get started first. We'll explore the fascinating world of the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin, also known as the florin, from the year 1949. While at first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary circulated piece of British currency, many collectors are surprised to discover that certain editions of the 1949 2 shilling coin carry significant value at auction. We'll break down its background, design, rarity, and current market demand in dollars, so you'll know exactly why this small piece of metal has captured the attention of serious numismatists worldwide. The 2 shilling coin, often referred to as the florin, was introduced in 1849 under Queen Victoria as part of an effort to move toward a decimalized currency system. By the mid-20th century, it was a familiar coin in daily British life, circulating widely alongside pennies, shillings, and half-crowns. The 1949 edition came shortly after World War II during the reign of King George VI. Britain was still recovering from wartime struggles, and coinage production reflected both economic austerity and national pride. Made of cupronickel rather than silver, the 1949 florin symbolized a shift away from traditional silver coinage due to rising costs. This coin marked an era of transition in Britain's monetary history. The 1949 2 shilling coin carries the portrait of King George VI on the obverse, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. His left-facing profile is surrounded by Latin inscriptions including Georgievs 6D, G, BR, Omen, REX, meaning George VI by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. On the reverse, the coin features the Tudor rose at the center, flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek symbols representing the 4 nations of the United Kingdom. Surrounding this floral arrangement is the inscription FID Def 2 shillings 1949, confirming both its denomination and date. Its diameter measures about 28.5 millimeters, and its composition of cupronickel gives it a duller appearance than its earlier silver counterparts, yet it still carries immense historical charm. Though millions of 2 shilling coins were struck in the 1940s, the 1949 issue stands out for a few reasons. First, relatively lower mintages compared to earlier wartime issues mean fewer of these coins survive in high grades today. Second, most circulated heavily, meaning finding one in pristine condition is quite difficult. Collectors especially prize examples with sharp details and minimal wear, which can command high premiums at auction. In circulated condition, these coins may seem common, but as the years pass, demand continues to grow among collectors of George VI coinage and mid-20th century British currency. So, how much can a 1949 2 shilling coin be worth today? In average circulated condition, values typically start at just a few dollars, often ranging between $15,000, depending on wear. However, higher-grade examples that retain strong detail and attractive toning can easily fetch $20,000 in the numismatic market. Exceptional specimens graded by professional services, or those sold at reputable auctions, have been known to sell for $22,000 or more, especially when they come with provenance or are nearly uncirculated. While the majority may not make you rich overnight, the rarest quality examples certainly hold impressive auction potential. If you're looking to add the 1949 2 shilling coin to your collection, there are a few key points to remember. Always check the condition carefully. Coins with clear lettering and minimal scratches are far more desirable. Try to seek out coins with original patina rather than clean pieces, as cleaning can actually lower value. When possible, buy from trusted dealers or auction houses, and consider having higher value coins graded for authentication and preservation. Lastly, remember that even circulated coins can be worthwhile if they fill a gap in your collection, especially when it comes to mid-20th century British coinage. The 1949 United Kingdom 2 shilling coin may appear like an everyday circulated coin from a bygone era, but its history, symbolism, and growing collector demand make it a fascinating piece of numismatic heritage. From its post-war background to its elegant design and rising market value, this florin is more than just a piece of pocket change. It's a treasure that reflects the resilience and transition of Britain in the late 1940s. So next time you come across one of these coins, take a closer look. It might just be worth far more than you think. Next up, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of British pre-decimal coinage, with a spotlight on a truly iconic piece. The United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1951. Now, while the shilling itself was once a common, everyday denomination in circulation, certain years stand out for their rarity, historical significance, and collector appeal. The 1951 2 shilling, especially in very fine condition, is one of those hidden gems. We will explore its history, unique features, rarity, and most importantly, its impressive value on the modern auction market, sometimes fetching big dollars among collectors. The 2 shilling coin, also known as a florin, had been part of the British monetary system since 1849. By 1951, the UK was still in the post-war recovery period, and coinage played a symbolic role in national identity. At this time, King George VI was on the throne, and his reign oversaw a number of important changes in Britain's coinage. The 1951 2 shilling belongs to this transitional period before Queen Elizabeth II ascended to the throne in 1952. Interestingly, the year 1951 was also significant because it was the year of the Festival of Britain, a celebration of British achievements and resilience after World War II. Although not struck as part of a commemorative issue, the 1951 2 shilling was minted during this historic year, adding a cultural layer to its value. The obverse of the 1951 2 shilling proudly bears the portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, a highly respected engraver of the time. His effigy is facing left, accompanied by the Latin inscription around the edge, which translates to George VI by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, defender of the faith. On the reverse, designed by Edgar Fuller and Cecil Thomas, the coin showcases the classic Tudor rose at the center, surrounded by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, symbolic of the four nations of the United Kingdom. Around the outer edge, the inscription reads FID Def 2 shillings 1951, with FID Def standing for Fidei Defensor, or Defender of the Faith. The coin was struck in cupronickel rather than silver, as Britain had phased out silver content from circulating coins in 1947. Measuring 28.5 millimeters in diameter and weighing 11.3 grams, it was both sturdy and beautifully designed, making it a popular denomination in circulation. While the 2 shilling was a relatively common coin, the 1951 issue is considered scarcer than most post-war examples, especially in higher grades. Millions of coins were minted, but many were heavily circulated, meaning finding one in very fine condition or better is not easy. The preservation of sharp details, legible inscriptions, and a clear portrait of George VI increases its desirability among collectors. Demand is further heightened by the fact that collectors of British coinage often seek out complete year sets, and the 1951 2 shilling is a crucial part of such collections. Because it ties into the Festival of Britain year, it has cultural as well as numismatic value, making it a coin that stands above other standard issues of the time. Now let's talk about the value of the 1951 2 shilling in today's market. In heavily worn circulated condition, these coins might only fetch a few dollars. However, in very fine condition, where the design remains sharp and the wear is moderate but not excessive, the value can climb significantly. Collectors are willing to pay anywhere from $12,500 for a strong, very fine example. At auction, particularly when the coin is part of a well-preserved collection, some pieces have been known to fetch even higher prices, pushing closer to the $27,500 or more mark depending on demand and rarity at the time. Higher-grade specimens like extremely fine or uncirculated examples can soar into the hundreds of dollars, but even the very fine condition coin stands out as a valuable piece for serious collectors. For those interested in adding the 1951 2 shilling to their collection, here are a few tips. First, always check the condition coins with clear portrait details, minimal scratches, and legible inscriptions are the most valuable. Second, be cautious of cleaning. polished coins lose much of their collector appeal and market value. Third, consider purchasing from reputable dealers or auction houses to ensure authenticity. Finally, storing the coin properly in a protective case will help preserve its condition and maintain its value over time. The 1951 United Kingdom 2 shilling coin is more than just a small medal. Of metal, it is a slice of British history, tied to a year of national pride and post-war resilience. With its beautiful design, association with King George VI, and scarcity in higher grades, it has become a highly sought-after treasure among collectors. In very fine condition, it already commands a strong price, and its value only continues to grow as time passes. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just beginning your numismatic journey, the 1951 2 shilling is a coin worth hunting for a modest-sized relic with big market value in dollars. Next up, we are diving deep into one of Britain's most historically significant coins, the United Kingdom 2 shilling of 1947. At first glance, this coin may appear as just another piece of post-war currency, but in the world of numismatics, it holds a special place. Especially when found in fine condition, the 1947 2 shilling coin has grown in demand among collectors worldwide and can command surprisingly strong prices at auctions. Let's uncover the story, features, and current value of this fascinating coin. The year 1947 marked an important turning point in British coinage history. Before this, coins such as the 2 shilling, also known as the florin, were struck in 50% silver. However, due to the enormous economic strain after World War II, the government made a significant change. Starting from 1947, all circulating British silver coins were no longer struck in silver, but instead minted in cupronickel, an alloy of copper and nickel. This decision ended centuries of tradition, making the 1947 issue a landmark coin. The 2 shilling was part of the pre-decimal system, where 20 shillings made a pound, and the florin was valued at 1/10 of a pound. King George VI, who was on the throne during this period, features prominently on the coin, representing an era of rebuilding and resilience. The 1947 2 shilling coin carries several distinctive features. On the obverse, it bears the portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. His left-facing effigy, with the inscription George's 6th deed G.BROMN.REX, reflects both authority and dignity. The reverse design is equally striking, a crowned Tudor rose at the center, flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, representing the 4 nations of the United Kingdom. Around the edge, the inscription reads FID Def 2 shillings 1947, emphasizing both the denomination and the monarch's role as defender of the faith. Its composition, being the first in cupronickel, also sets it apart as a transitional coin in British history. While millions of these coins were minted, the 1947 2 shilling stands out for reasons beyond mintage figures. It is the first no-silver florin, which means collectors often seek it to complete typesets. Coins from this year that survive in fine condition or better are becoming scarcer, especially since many were heavily circulated in the post-war years. Collectors appreciate it not just for its affordability, but for its role in marking a monumental shift in British coinage. The combination of historical context and transitional significance has kept demand consistently strong among both British and international collectors. Now, let's talk about what everyone wants to know: its value. In circulated condition, such as fine grade, a 1947 2 shilling may fetch a modest price, often around $13,500 depending on quality and eye appeal. However, coins with exceptionally sharp detail, free of damage, or in higher grades like extremely fine or uncirculated, can command much more. At auctions, pristine examples have been known to sell in the range of $25,000, especially when certified by a grading service. While it might not be a silver coin, its historical weight and collector demand ensure it remains a valuable addition to any collection. If you are looking to add a 1947 2 shilling to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always examine the condition carefully. Even small differences in detail and where can affect the coin's value. Second, consider certification for higher grade examples, as this boosts buyer confidence and auction results. Third, build a typeset of pre-decimal florins. Having the 1947 piece alongside earlier silver issues highlights its transitional role. Finally, store your coins properly in protective holders to prevent wear or tarnishing over time. The United Kingdom 1947 2 shilling is much more than just a piece of cupronickel. It represents a turning point in British monetary history, the end of silver coinage, and the resilience of a nation emerging from the shadows of war. In fine condition, it remains accessible to collectors, but its historical importance ensures lasting demand and value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this coin is a must-have for anyone passionate about British coinage. Next up, we're diving deep into one of Britain's most fascinating post-war coins, the United Kingdom 2 shilling of 1950, also known as the florin. While many of these coins once jingled in the pockets of everyday people, a well-preserved 1952 shilling has become a rare collector's item with a surprisingly high auction value in today's market. If you've got one of these coins tucked away in excellent condition, you might just be holding on to a treasure worth far more than face value. The 2 shilling coin, or florin, was introduced back in the 19th century as part of Britain's long journey toward decimalization. By 1950, the florin had already established itself as a popular denomination equal to 1/10 of a pound. The 1950 edition was struck during the reign of King George VI, who ruled from 1936 until his death in 1952. This period was marked by post-war recovery, rationing, and a society slowly rebuilding after World War II. Coins of this era not only served as money, but also stood as symbols of national resilience. The florins of George VI represent a fascinating bridge between the pre-war sterling system and the modern coins that would eventually evolve into Britain's decimal currency in 1971. The 1952 shilling coin carries the dignified portrait of King George VI on the obverse, designed by the artist Thomas Humphrey Paget. His side profile is strong and commanding, reflecting stability during a time of great change. On the reverse, the coin features the beautiful crowned Tudor rose at the center, flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek floral emblems representing the unity of England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. The Latin inscription FID Def 2 shillings 1950 encircles the design, meaning defender of the faith. Struck in cupronickel instead of silver, the coin's metallic composition reflected the economic realities of the time. However, in excellent condition, its detailed engravings and sharp edges give it an elegance that collectors truly value. While millions of 2 shilling coins were minted across various years, the 1950 issue is much scarcer in higher grades. Circulated examples are relatively common, but coins that survive in excellent, almost uncirculated condition are far harder to find. Most coins from this era endured years of heavy pocket wear, making pristine specimens a rarity. Collectors today seek the 1950 florin not only for its historical significance, but also because high-grade coins are difficult to track down. As demand for mid-20th century British coins continues to grow, the market value of such pieces has steadily increased. Now, let's talk about the market value. A typical circulated 1952 shilling might fetch only a few dollars. However, when you step into the realm of excellent or near mint state condition, the story changes dramatically. At auction, well-preserved examples have been known to sell anywhere from $12,500, depending on the sharpness of detail and overall eye appeal. In certain rare instances, superbly graded coins by top certification agencies have crossed the $23,500 mark, proving that even a seemingly ordinary post-war coin can carry extraordinary value in today's numismatic world. If you're interested in collecting or investing in the 1952 shilling, here are a few tips. First, always focus on condition. The less wear, the better. Look for coins with sharp details in the king's portrait and minimal smoothing on the floral reverse. Second, consider professional grading if you believe your coin is in exceptional shape, as certification can significantly boost its market value. Finally, keep an eye on auctions and trusted dealers, since demand for George VI-era coins continues to rise among both UK and international collectors. The 1950 United Kingdom 2 shilling is more than just a piece of metal. It's a tangible slice of post-war British history. While it once had the humble job of buying groceries or paying fares, today it stands proudly as a sought-after collectible, with values that can soar in the auction market. If you happen to own one in excellent condition, you might just be holding on to a small fortune. So, check your old coin collections. You never know what treasures are waiting to be rediscovered. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of British numismatic history, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin of 1948. While at first glance this coin may look like an ordinary pre-decimal shilling, its background, condition, and collector demand make it stand out in the auction market. Even in circulated condition, the 1948 2 shilling coin holds strong value among collectors who recognize its significance. So, let's explore the story of this coin and why it's considered a treasure in the world of rare British currency. The 2 shilling coin, also known as the florin, had been in circulation in the United Kingdom since the mid-19th century. By 1948, the coin was firmly established as a familiar part of everyday currency. This particular year, however, fell in an interesting period of British history. Just a few years after World War II, the UK economy was still rebuilding and resources were limited. Silver had already been removed from circulating coins in 1947, so the 1948 2 shilling was struck in copper-nickel rather than the traditional silver alloy. It bore the portrait of King George VI, the father of Queen Elizabeth II, who reigned during a time of recovery and transition. As a result, the 1948 2 shilling coin not only served as money, but also as a symbol of the post-war British spirit and resilience. The 1948 2 shilling coin features the crowned English rose in the center, flanked by the Scottish thistle, the Irish shamrock, and the Welsh leek, all encircled by the Latin inscription FID Def IND IMP 2 shillings 1948. Above this floral design rests the crown, representing the unity of the United Kingdom. On the obverse, we see the left-facing bust of King George VI with the inscription George's 6 deed G.BR.OMN.REX. The lettering and fine details were designed to represent strength and tradition. Even in circulated condition, many of these coins retain visible detail, which adds to their charm for collectors who value originality and authenticity. While millions of 2 shilling coins were minted during the reign of George VI, the 1948 issue stands out for its relatively low survival in top condition. Many were heavily circulated, meaning that examples found today often show wear, scratches, and loss of detail. This makes well-preserved circulated coins appealing, especially when they still carry legible inscriptions and sharp designs. Collectors are particularly drawn to the 1948 issue because it comes right after the silver coinage era ended in 1946. As one of the early all-copper-nickel shillings, it represents a significant transition in British coinage history. Furthermore, coins of George VI continue to gain popularity as collectors seek to complete sets from the pre-decimal era. In terms of market value, the 1948 2 shilling in circulated condition may not reach the heights of silver issues from earlier years, but its rarity in the auction market pushes its price upward. Depending on the grade and overall eye appeal, circulated examples can sell anywhere from $16,000, with higher prices commanded for pieces that retain sharp details despite wear. In some auctions, well-preserved circulated coins with strong features have reached values above $25,100, proving that demand continues to grow among collectors who see the 1948 florin as an undervalued gem of British coinage. For collectors interested in acquiring the 1948 2 shilling coin, here are a few tips. First, focus on coins that, even in circulated condition, have clear inscriptions and a visible bust of King George VI. Wear is expected, but eye appeal makes a huge difference in value. Second, always ensure authenticity. Buying from trusted dealers or reputable auction houses helps you avoid counterfeits or altered pieces. Finally, consider holding on to these coins as long-term investments. As the popularity of pre-decimal British coins continues to rise, their value in the market is only expected to increase. The United Kingdom 2 shilling coin of 1948 is much more than just a piece of copper-nickel. It carries the story of a nation rebuilding after war, the image of a monarch who guided Britain through challenging times, and the artistry of a design that celebrated unity. In circulated condition, it still holds strong appeal, both as a collectible and as a reminder of British history. With growing collector demand and steady market value, The 1948 florin has secured its place as a rare coin worth treasuring. Next up, we'll be shining a spotlight on a fascinating piece of British numismatic history. The United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1963, particularly in very fine condition. While the 2 shilling, often called a florin, was once a common coin in everyday use, certain years and conditions can make them stand out as rare treasures. The 2 shilling coin, equivalent to 1/10 of a pound sterling, was first introduced in 1849 as part of Britain's efforts to experiment with decimalization. By the time we reached 1963, the coin had already been a staple of British currency for over a century. This particular year falls under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who had ascended the throne in 1952. The 1963 florin reflects the post-war era of Britain, when the country was undergoing significant economic and cultural changes. These coins were minted in cupronickel, replacing the earlier silver issues, symbolizing the shift towards more durable and affordable metals in circulation. The 1963 2 shilling coin features a striking design that makes it instantly recognizable. On the obverse, you will find the young laureate portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Mary Gillick, capturing the Queen in her early years of reign. This portrait is particularly admired for its simplicity and grace. On the reverse, the design by Edgar Fuller and Cecil Thomas displays a Tudor rose in the center, flanked by thistles, shamrocks, and leeks, the floral emblems of the 4 nations of the United Kingdom. Around the edge is the inscription FID Def 2 shillings 1963. Together, these features highlight national pride and unity in a single coin. Although millions of 2 shillings were minted in 1963, finding one in very fine condition is far from easy today. These coins were heavily circulated, meaning that most surviving examples are worn down. Collectors place significant value on coins that retain sharp details and minimal wear, making a very fine condition 1963 florin much scarcer than one might expect. Moreover, coins from this era are increasingly sought after by collectors who specialize in pre-decimal British currency, adding to their desirability. When it comes to value, condition is king. A typical 1963 2 shilling in circulated, poor condition might only fetch a few dollars. However, when preserved in very fine condition, the story changes. Auction houses and online marketplaces have shown strong results, with well-preserved examples often reaching values between $27,100, depending on the sharpness of detail and collector demand at the time of sale. Exceptional pieces graded even higher than very fine can sometimes command significantly more, making this coin a surprising gem for those who may still have it tucked away in a drawer or collection. If you're interested in acquiring or preserving a 1963 2 shilling, there are a few key tips to keep in mind. Always look for coins with clear details, especially around the Queen's portrait and the floral emblems on the reverse. Avoid coins that have been cleaned or polished, as this can reduce their value. Storing your coins in protective holders or albums will help prevent further wear. And finally, keep an eye on reputable auction sites and numismatic fairs, as these are the best places to find authentic and high-quality examples. The 1963 United Kingdom 2 shilling may seem like a small and ordinary coin, but in very fine condition, it becomes a rare and valuable piece of history. Its beautiful design, ties to the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and growing collector demand make it a treasure worth appreciating. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, this coin reminds us that even everyday currency can carry immense historical and financial value. Next up, we are taking a closer look at a fascinating piece of British numismatic history. The United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1962, also known as a florin. While to the casual eye it might just look like an ordinary pre-decimal coin, in excellent condition this piece can actually command remarkable value in today's auction market. We'll explore its background, special features, rarity, and the kind of prices collectors are willing to pay for it in dollars. The 2 shilling coin, commonly called the florin, has a deep history in Britain, dating back to the mid-19th century. By 1962, the coin was still circulating widely in the United Kingdom, serving as an important part of the pre-decimal currency system. It was worth 1/10 of a pound sterling, making it a convenient denomination for everyday transactions. The 1962 florin was struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, just a decade into her rule. This period marked one of the last eras of Britain's old monetary system before decimalization in 1971, making coins like this not only historic, but also symbolic of a nation transitioning into modern currency practices. The 1962 2-shilling coin has some striking design details. On the obverse, it features the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick, showing the Queen wearing a laurel wreath, an image that collectors deeply admire for its elegance and historical context. The reverse side was designed by Edgar Fuller and Cecil Thomas, displaying a Tudor rose at the center, surrounded by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, which represent England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales respectively. This beautiful arrangement celebrates the unity of the United Kingdom. The inscriptions read, FID Def 2 Shillings 1962, making it both artistic and functional. Another key point is the composition. By 1962, the coin was no longer struck in silver, but in cupronickel, which makes excellent condition examples more valuable since they've survived decades without tarnish or heavy wear. At first glance, the 1962 florin might not seem rare, as millions were minted for circulation. However, the real scarcity lies in condition. Coins that survived circulation in excellent or near-mint condition are highly sought after by collectors. Most examples from the early 1960s were used daily, picked up scratches, and lost their original shine. That's why well-preserved specimens are so prized. Collectors also value this coin as part of a complete Elizabeth II pre-decimal set, and for those who collect florins across different monarchs, the 1962 edition holds a special place as one of the later issues before decimalization. Now, let's talk about the auction market. While an average circulated 1962 2-shilling might only be worth a few dollars, an example in excellent condition, especially if graded by a professional service, can sell for significantly more. In some auctions, pristine uncirculated coins have fetched between $28,800 and, in rare cases, even higher depending on demand and buyer competition. For collectors in the United States and beyond, these values translate into real investment potential, particularly because coins from the early Elizabethan era are gaining more attention worldwide. If you're interested in adding the 1962 2-shilling to your collection, here are some tips. First, always check the condition. Coins with clear details, lustrous surfaces, and minimal wear hold the greatest value. Second, consider getting your coin graded by a professional service, as certified coins command higher prices at auction. Finally, look out for bulk coin lots where a gem-quality piece may be hiding unnoticed, waiting for a keen eye to spot it. The 1962 United Kingdom 2-shilling coin may seem like an ordinary piece of currency from the past, but in excellent condition, it transforms into a highly desirable collector's item. With its rich history, beautiful design, and increasing demand in the auction market, it stands as a reminder of the treasures that lie hidden in the world of numismatics. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your coin journey, keep your eyes open because that ordinary-looking florin could turn out to be worth hundreds of dollars. Next up, we are going to explore a fascinating piece of British numismatic history. The United Kingdom 2-shilling coin from the year 1956. While to the untrained eye this coin may appear as just another pre-decimal piece of change, those who understand the world of rare coins know that even seemingly common issues can hold great value depending on their condition, demand, and historical significance. We will focus on the 1956 2-shilling in very good condition, a coin that has earned attention in the auction market and continues to be a sought-after piece among collectors worldwide. The 2-shilling coin, also known as the florin, was first introduced in 1849 under Queen Victoria's reign. It was Britain's first step toward decimalization since its value represented 1/10 of a pound. By 1956, the 2-shilling coin was well established in circulation and carried the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who had ascended the throne just a few years earlier in 1952. The coin itself was struck in cupronickel, as silver had been removed from circulation in 1947 due to rising metal costs. Despite the lack of silver, these coins still carry significant historical weight as they represent early Elizabethan-era issues. The year 1956 sits in the early period of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, a time when Britain was adjusting to post-war recovery, social change, and a new monarch's leadership. Coins from this decade are often collected not only for their numismatic value, but also for their connection to a transformative era in British history. The 1956 2-shilling coin bears the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Mary Gillick. This portrait is particularly admired for its fresh and elegant appearance, showing the Queen uncrowned with laurel wreaths in her hair, symbolizing peace and continuity. On the reverse side, the coin displays the traditional English design featuring a Tudor rose at the center, surrounded by thistles, shamrocks, and leeks, the floral emblems of the United Kingdom. Around the edge, the Latin inscription reads Fide Def, short for Fidei Defensor, meaning Defender of the Faith, a title carried by British monarchs. Measuring 28.5 millimeters in diameter and weighing around 11.3 grams, this coin is instantly recognizable by collectors. While minted in cupronickel, its intricate designs and strong symbolism make it far more than just base metal. It is a piece of Britain's cultural identity in coin form. Now, you might be wondering, is the 1956 2-shilling rare? The truth is, millions of these coins were minted for circulation, which means they were not scarce in their time. However, as decades passed and Britain adopted decimalization in 1971, these coins were withdrawn from circulation. Today, finding a 1956 2-shilling in very good condition or better is far less common than it once was. Collectors place special value on coins that remain well-preserved despite heavy circulation in their era. A very good condition piece from 1956 means that while the coin shows some signs of wear, the details of the Queen's portrait and the floral emblems on the reverse remain visible and attractive. This condition, paired with the growing interest in early Elizabeth II coinage, has pushed demand higher at auctions and among private collectors. So, how much is a 1956 2-shilling coin worth in today's market? For circulated and heavily worn examples, values tend to remain modest, often just a few dollars. However, when we step into coins in very good condition, the price begins to climb. Collectors are willing to pay between $15,500 for these coins, depending on their eye appeal and preservation. Auction sales occasionally push the values even higher when particularly sharp examples surface, especially if they are graded and encapsulated by reputable coin grading services. In higher grades, such as extremely fine or uncirculated, these coins can reach well over $25,100, with some sales surpassing that when bidding wars ignite among dedicated collectors of the Elizabeth II series. If you're looking to add a 1956 2-shilling coin to your collection, there are a few tips to keep in mind. First, always assess the condition carefully. The sharper the details on the Queen's portrait and the floral emblems, the more valuable the coin will be. Second, try to source coins from reputable dealers or auction houses to avoid counterfeits or heavily polished examples that reduce collector value. It is also wise to consider professional grading if you believe your coin is in exceptionally high condition. Grading not only certifies authenticity, but also makes your coin more attractive on the resale market. Finally, don't underestimate the power of building a complete set. Collectors who aim for every year of Queen Elizabeth II's pre-decimal 2-shilling coins often pay premiums to secure missing dates, and 1956 is a key year for many of those collections. The United Kingdom 1956 2-shilling coin is more than just an old piece of change. It is a coin that represents a historic period, showcases early Elizabethan design, and continues to be in demand among collectors worldwide. While it may not contain silver, its value lies in its rarity in higher conditions and its strong historical connection to Britain's coinage heritage. In very good condition, this coin can command a surprising premium in the auction market, sometimes selling for dozens of dollars and even more in higher grades. So, if you come across a 1956 2-shilling in your collection or at a market stall, take a closer look. You may just be holding a small but valuable treasure from Britain's numismatic past. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of British numismatic history, the United Kingdom 2-shilling coin from the year 1954. At first glance, this coin may look like just another pre-decimal piece of currency, but when we take a closer look, you'll see why it's considered a rarity, especially in excellent condition. With strong demand from collectors and an impressive auction market value in dollars. This coin is more than just a piece of change. It's a treasure that connects us to Britain's rich coinage heritage. The 2-shilling coin, often referred to as the florin, has a long history in British currency. Introduced in the mid-19th century, it was originally intended as a step towards decimalization. By 1954, Britain was still a few years away from transitioning its coinage system, but the florin remained an essential part of daily life. The 1954 issue comes under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who had just ascended the throne in 1952 following the passing of King George VI. The coins minted during these early years of her reign carry immense historical significance, as they reflect the dawn of a new Elizabethan era. While the florin was produced in large numbers generally, certain years stand out for their scarcity, and 1954 is one of them. The 1954 2-shilling coin features the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Mary Gillick. This portrait is famous for its simplicity and elegance, portraying the young queen without a crown, a feature collectors admire greatly. On the reverse, we find the English florin design, which includes a crowned Tudor rose in the center, flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek to represent Scotland, Ireland, and Wales alongside England. Surrounding this design are the words FID Def, meaning Defender of the Faith, along with the date and the denomination 2 shillings. Coins from this year are made of cupronickel rather than silver, as Britain had shifted away from silver coinage after 1946. Yet, despite the lack of precious metal content, the coin's artistry and condition are what truly elevate its value. Now, here's where the 1954 2-shilling really shines. Unlike more common years, the 1954 issue saw a relatively low mintage compared to surrounding years, and examples in excellent, well-preserved condition are remarkably hard to find. Many of the coins were heavily circulated, suffering from scratches, wear, and tarnishing. Collectors today prize the 1954 florin not only for its low availability, but also for its connection to the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II. This combination of historical timing and scarcity fuels intense demand in numismatic markets. When an excellent or near-mint specimen comes up for sale, it rarely goes unnoticed. So, what's the market value of a 1954 2-shilling coin in excellent condition today? While circulated examples may only fetch a modest price, those rare, well-preserved coins can command surprisingly high amounts at auction. In recent years, collectors have paid anywhere between $13,500 for top-grade examples, depending on eye appeal and certification. Coins graded by professional services and placed in excellent condition, or better still, in uncirculated states can even soar higher, particularly when multiple bidders compete for ownership. This market behavior shows just how prized this year's issue is among serious collectors. If you're looking to add a 1954 2-shilling coin to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always pay close attention to condition. Coins with sharp details, clean surfaces, and minimal wear are the ones that truly hold premium value. Second, consider professional grading for higher value specimens, as it provides both authentication and market credibility. Also, keep in mind that storage matters. Use coin holders or capsules to protect against scratches and tarnish. And finally, do your research before buying or selling. Check recent auction records and numismatic price guides to ensure you're making a wise investment. The 1954 2-shilling coin is more than just an old piece of British change. It's a collectible steeped in history, tied to the beginning of Queen Elizabeth II's long reign, and admired for its rarity and beauty. In excellent condition, it's a true gem that continues to command strong prices at auction, making it a must-have for serious coin collectors. So, whether you already own one of these treasures or you're still hunting for it, the 1954 florin remains a reminder of how even ordinary currency can transform into extraordinary value over time. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more coin stories, auction highlights, or tips for British or world coin collecting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thanks for watching, and may your next coin hunt be your best one yet.